Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're off on an adventure to go see where the farm to start. He's a man who absolutely loves chickens. He's going to give us a quick tour of his farm and we're going to get some hatching eggs from him to start our own flock here again.
These are all our breeding houses. So
Oh, for the people that want to know though, mate.
the only problem with this around here is so loud. Like Sussex, I mentioned it on the video when I was doing breed. The only breed that I've lost to cannibalism, like routinely, and that's why he's lost his tail feathers. They've got these beautiful black tail feathers, but these hens are just
Savages.
yeah.
Quite big as well, aren't they?
Yeah, so this is why I want to do this breed, so they're dual purpose.
Yeah,
so
right.
They come up really well.
Where have you got them all from originally? Have you just been buying eggs to hatch?
Yeah, so I built this when I had a job,
Yeah.
and it cost me about 4 times more than it should have because I had a job. The purpose of these ones is to have 1 cockerel, maybe 5-6 hens, and then you can breed through them. I'm actually realising that I haven't got enough space in them, which is why we're going to see the black copper Moran soon. My incubator takes 140 eggs. I'm probably going to double that, so I need 300 eggs at a time.
Right.
And I don't have enough hens to produce that number of eggs.
Got enough hens ready to pull from the other flock to start producing more eggs? If you
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm doing with the black copper Morans. We're going to see them in the brooder. I don't know what kind of hens you're looking to get.
Any really, I just wanted as a prettier flock as possible this time,
so
really.
these
Multiple different coloured eggs is the one. Really.
These are brand Leghorns,
They do look nice, don't
and
they?
they lay really nice white eggs.
He's like a really traditional looking cockerel, isn't he? I would say.
I call him like a Kellogg's cockerel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They've called him Hey Hey, and I was filming a video this morning, and another reason why he's called Hey Hey, because he attacks you as well,
Right.
and you end up always telling him to feck off. We've got some light Sussex eggs. We'll give you some light Sussex and some brown Leghorn because I think they'll be a good combination. So white eggs, cream eggs, and then we'll do some black copper Morans. And when they're born, the hens are like a dark brown, and the males have got a white spot on their head and a lighter brown.
Right.
And so I want to do the same with cooking Morans, so we can get brown egg layer but are auto-sexing. What that allows us to do is people like yourself, if I sell you a load of chickens, I can come and collect the day old,
Yeah.
because you don't want the cockles, and I can come and collect the cockles and I can finish the cockles here. And I just think as a small holding kind of, it just makes a lot more sense.
Makes way more sense, yeah.
It all goes kind of back to the theory that if we can all work together, not one of us has to bear the cost of the whole thing. Those are Exchequer Leghorns. Leghorns in general are pretty loopy, and they haven't got much weight on them. The leg bars I want to try and get bigger because it's really hard work. I was culling them and I lost the cockerel out of the trailer and it landed on top of the garage roof. And that's the only downfall of the breed, is that they are scatty. He's a lavender Arcana.
Are they blue eggs?
Yeah, they are
Yeah,
blue eggs,
yeah.
and they're really nice. A really docile breed. They take an age to be able to sex though. Like,
Right.
That's why I've got a cockerel out in that field, because he tricked me for, well, about 6 months.
Do you keep just the one accidental cockerel out there, or do you keep more?
So I've got one intentional. I had another that passed away, and then I've just taken another. So we've got 3 out there at the moment. The goal being, and they're like just an early warning system.
Yeah.
Like you'll hear them, and they're always the first one to make the sound when the bird of prey flies over.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You'd be putting them out for some sort of alarm system.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit of a predator defense somehow.
Yeah. No, they work well. And actually, I find that they settle down the pecking order much faster.
Right.
Because they're usually at the top of it. We have had cockerels that aren't, but usually at the top of it, and they just tell everyone to chill out. Although with that many hens, you're going to have problems. But.
Yeah, well, this is one of the problems I used to have. I used to keep them in sort of a 500 flock max, and then as soon as I went above the bracket of 1,000 birds, they came along and said I've got to put them inside the giant shed. As soon as I put them all inside the giant shed, the pecking order thing was just a joke. They were constantly fighting.
Happy for you to give them hay if you want them.
Yeah, feed some cows.
So we make all our own hay, about 1,000, we have like 3,000 bales, I think is our top. We used to have a small baler, now, well, in the grand scheme of things, bigger. But we used to have circular bales, which worked quite well. We had
Like the little ones?
Yeah, and then we had like a circle wrapper as well,
Right.
allowed us to make haylage. But they're just quite hard to stack, and so obviously we get volume right up to the roof here. With the round bales, you can only make a pyramid.
Oh, right.
But I would recommend them for like smallholders. These bales are way easier to just handle and move around.
Equipment / replacements and stuff is much more readily available for little square bales
Yeah.
as well.
So I think the round bale is similar to the tractor we've got, like a Chinese made.
Is it? Right.
I'll show you around them, but it's a good idea for a smallholder, but it just doesn't quite work. The trouble with the rectangle bales is that the kit to get them, I'll show you the different sizes between the 2 balers, but the kit's massive to be able to make a square bale, whereas a round bale, what it does, it's just got a brush on the front, and it just keeps brushing in,
Right.
and the bale turns around in the cartridge, and then just throws it out the back. So it works quite well.
So it's way more compact, I guess.
It's way more compact, yeah. I'll compare them.
So how many of these are we chucking in?
You've got three of these in today. So they are grass fed, but they're just also greedy and lazy. So these are all fully grown. But the advantage to this lot is that you get 2 to an acre, where you would get 1 to an acre on the big boys.
And I guess just overall way less damage on the land.
Exactly.
A much heavier animal, isn't it?
And for us, people like us, right? Like, if you wanted a freezer full of beef, a full cow would fill your freezer probably too much. Whereas with 2 of them, you can split out the culling and spread your meat over the year.
And just much more of a practical animal, I think, for your general person as well.
Yeah, so we've got the crush over there.
Again, the equipment, isn't it, for the size of the animal, doesn't need to be as heavy duty.
And they are just a lot more docile as a breed. So we've got 2 calves in there, and we can keep them in there quite easily. With the big boys, which, you know, he is, I think, about 500 kilos, and he would be small for a big cow.
Yeah.
I want to mob graze them. So we've currently they just graze the entire field, but I want to mob graze them using those collars. And then what we do is the chickens follow the cattle. Theoretically, it's better for the soil. I was chatting to the guys the other day. The investment for 16 collars, maybe 14 collars, was £4.5 grand.
Right.
And then it's £5 a month per collar.
What subscription fee type?
Yeah, but a maximum of 8 months. So then it's free after that. But you can also turn it on and off. So it's like pay as you go.
So if you bring a cow in, you can turn the collar off.
Exactly.
Not be paying. Yeah.
So if like we've probably got 2 calves under 6 months at all times. So you wouldn't put collars on them.
Yeah.
But it allows you to move fit. Like I could stand here and I can move the cattle around the field, and it just saves that time of having to move that fence every day. It might not work, but it's worth exploring, you know, just to see if it does. Yeah, maybe.
Because it's one of the, honestly, because if you're building up the sort of the community of people who are all watching you and them.
Right, so we can collect hatching eggs for yourself and the incubator to hatch, and then we can go over and we can collect them. The eggs from the laying girls as well.
Have you made all this yourself as well?
Yeah, so this is another first tunnel.
So you've literally just bought the polytunnel and then you fabricate everything else?
And exactly, and then, although we won't look at that. We've put it on C-section, 200mm C-sections, and then I put polycarbonate on this one. My biggest problem, and as you've seen before, is condensation.
Right.
And so it just gets so wet in here when it gets cold, and then it heats up overnight. But this has got a plastic floor in because I was trying to experiment whether it's worth putting floors in. I'm not convinced yet. I'm going to see in the spring how that field reacts to having all of the nitrogen from the
right. I see what you're saying.
From the bedding on it, because this one would allow you to clean it out as you go, but still move it.
Had you thought about reseeding a better grass as you go?
I haven't.
Like a more nitrogen
I've thought about
absorbing
it, but I've done nothing to actually implement it.
Because that was something I was looking at doing right as I sort of moved the flock inside last time.
Because and also it's like a desert in terms of diversity out there. Like we've just got flat grass, and so I would like to get some sort of biodiversity because the hens love it. I just want to get in here. I'd love to get like fruit trees and shade to allow them to root around more naturally because they're not built to be outside.
No, I know what you're saying. Well, and I guess you probably see it yourself when the red kite goes over or whatever. They all of a sudden ditch to an edge,
and they all go inside, and they don't. And like the big problem, and I used to work with actually someone who had a PhD in chicken psychology, and she was hired by people like Happy Hens to try and figure out how do you get chickens out into pasture, because what they have, and I'm sure you've seen it in yours, they have a nice big house with all the food, all the water and all the light, and you have free range hens, you open the door and they're not interested in going out.
Yeah. That's what I think is the current scam behind most free range egg systems. And you know how which is the one that sort of made me think of it, it's basically, as you know, the door sizes that you have to have. So for 1,000 birds or whatever it is, it's a metre that you have to have the door to get them out of the house. So I guess you'll know this too. That's 1 or 2 birds can take over that whole doorway, and then the birds won't come or go. So you could end up with 2 birds holding the rest of the 998 inside the shed. And that's exactly what happens on these big units most of the time.
Yeah,
a couple of dominant birds.
Yeah, it's I can't remember how many centimetres, but it is. Yeah, it's not very many for a few hundred.
No. It's not a lot of space at all. It's like a pop hole almost.
Yeah. So it's 9 metres squared. In 1 metre squared, you get 9 hens inside, and then it's 1 metre squared per hen outside. But within, what's mad is that the barn. So this one, for example, I think it's probably like 150 hen house.
Yeah.
If I shut the doors and they went from free range to barn, the barn stays the same size.
Yeah, it's bad.
Which is bonkers, and I wouldn't. We're aiming at like 7-8 meters squared. The kestrel's up there at the top. Kestrel baby. You've been pranked.
Picked up the fake eggs. What a fool.
This is what I'm trying to produce. Is this sort of
darky one
chocolate compared to like the white one.
Mm.
So everyone's asking these days why the white eggs are suddenly popping up in the supermarkets. It's because, and I was at the conference of the British Free Range Egg Producers Association, which is real rolls off the tongue. Their latest breed, which I always forget the name of, but it's a white Leghorn, and they now lay for 100 weeks compared to, I think it's 86 weeks of like the.
So that's the sudden switch in marketing. Yeah.
So that's why we suddenly see all these white eggs.
Yeah.
Is because they've switched the breed. It's just like the in-fashion breed at the moment. So there's nothing different. And I think as a nation, we've kind of a bit cynical of white eggs because there was a thing, and I don't know how much based on fact or rumour it was when the Americans used to put them in chlorine to clean them and dye them, and they used to wash them off. And then it went into fashion that brown eggs were healthy, and now people are a bit worried about white eggs, but they're all the same inside.
Obviously, because people were worried that the white egg was just bleached.
Exactly, that's the word, bleached.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to clean eggs in this country anymore at all, as we'll see in my videos where I'm trying to keep them clean as possible.
You're not allowed at all anymore.
No, not at all.
I need to update myself on the regs before I actually start selling them again. I thought you were allowed to sort of sell them to like basically people on farm or whatever,
so this
from
is
your gate sales.
We need to find out, because the lady I was chatting to from the council midweek, she was saying that if you're selling direct to customer, and she was suggesting that that's any way, so if you're selling online or in any way that you're from a farm direct to the customer, you don't need to grade them, so they don't need to be clean. And if that's the case, then yeah, you're all good.
That's what I thought was the case, yeah.
But how I do it is I have a farm, and then I've got a business that basically just distributes them, so it doesn't really work for us.
Right.
What I was realising is actually for the smallholder like yourself or us, it's actually there's not too many barriers to entry. It's just you've got to make sure you abide by the marketing legislation, and you've just got to tick those boxes. And they're actually, all of the people that I've spoken to, the APHA, the council, want to see you succeed.
Yeah, I'd agree. I never really came across any kind of people trying to put roadblocks in from actually people affecting you getting things done. Yeah,
I think there is a nervousness of going from a small holding, which is just you're just producing for you and your friends, to actually a small farm, which is where you're producing for general customers. And I think there is a nervousness of like the legislations, and one of the things I want to do is try to help demystify that. And like, actually, it's not too difficult. Like, we can kill 10,000 birds a year without having to need a license. We don't have. You're not an abattoir before you do that. When you go beyond 10,000, and that's a lot of birds. Like, I've got no interest in processing.
That's a full business for many a small farm.
Exactly. One step after that is butchery. You can process 2 tons of meat a month before you have to get basically become a licensed butchery. Before that, you just need health and hygiene from the council. For us, it's like maybe 5 cows. Yeah. We do two a year. Pigs maybe come up like 100 kilos. So it's like 10 pigs a year. If we were doing anything larger than that, we'd just send them to the local butcher.
It's again a time thing, isn't it? If you've got to sacrifice all of a sudden best part of 3-4 days a week, chopping everything up, when the butcher will do it and just come back to you ready to sell. And it's not that bad giving a margin to someone like that, I don't think.
Well, exactly. And that's my principle, and that's what I want to try and prove, is that if you cut out the middleman, actually it's quite a dangerous word to use in our industry, because a lot of people add value along those steps. So like, if we didn't have a butcher and we cut him out, he gets completely knocked out, and he has a small business that you knock out. Whereas actually what you were really trying to avoid is big retailers trying to control the industry. That's the person you want to knock out of it. There seems to be like a back and forward between farmers and the general public, and the kind of misconception that farmers are in it for the money. Like, I actually think farming is a vocation. It's closer, we do it because we're passionate about producing food.
I think so too.
And then we try and figure out how to make money at it, because this is the life we want. What we're trying to do is just trying to prove that you can get local sustainable food, so that people in the village locally, my family, can eat good food. We'll do the brown Leghorns.
Don't feel like you've got to give me anything you don't want to give me. Is that brown one the fake egg this time?
These ones lay white eggs.
You just using wood chip from yourselves, or you buying stuff in?
Some of us are our own. I'm a bit cautious using our own, because I don't know what's in it a lot of the time.
Right.
A lot of them are actually on horse bedding, which is just super expensive, but it lasts a lot better, and they're just happier in it. And one of my pet peeves of like watching online, like people like when they're in really matted bedding, like it's not healthy for the bird.
I know what you're saying.
And like they much, we've seen. I've often put the content of mine is that I love bathing through it, and you can see it even just like roost.
That's what I was just about to ask, is to stop any matting or anything. Do you ever turn it over, or do you let them do all that themselves?
So interestingly, different birds, I've found different birds do it. So look, the cockerels, when I've had cockerels in, they don't go through it, and so we go through with a fork and we turn it over. Yeah. But often we find that hens, in particular, they'll literally, over the course of a day, will turn over the entire house, and you won't even notice it because they do it so fast.
Is this brown one a fake egg in here? Brown egg. Brown egg. The different coloured egg is the fake egg, I'm getting it. Nice little mix of eggs so far, isn't it?
I can do all of my eggs, so we do 500 eggs a week, and I've done it in half an hour. So it's pretty good.
Like got some sort of loader.
This little nipple thing. Similar to you collecting eggs today, like I'm really nervous about it and it just slows me down. But the theory is it just suctions on. It's only one vacuum across all of them. Yeah. So that's why it's dangerous. It works well and you can go fast. However, what I like to do when I'm using my hands, it allows me to feel for cracks and things as they go on.
So you can do a bit of manual.
Exactly. So I'm doing two jobs at once rather than this one. This one would probably be good if you had load trays and you had to put them into boxes.
Yeah, because that's what I found when I was doing them all by hand, is that you eliminate 99% of the bad ones before you even bother.
Yeah, exactly. I got stung for this. It's like 150
so pretty much candling became like a pretty much nonsense thing for me to do after a while, because it's like all the bad ones are gone.
Yeah, so this boy, like theoretically, this is where you candle the eggs.
Yeah.
But it's so light in here that you can't really see them. But you can. It does show up any cracks and things. But it's pretty cool, like it works quite well. So you can dump them all here. This sorts them out so they're always flat by the time they get down to the inkjet printer.
Oh, it levels them all off?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, it prints as well? I didn't realise that. Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
cool.
those, the two caps with orange on, they're print ink cartridges. And what's quite cool is they're also the printer as well.
Yeah.
So they're connected to the computer at the top there. And then as the eggs go over, and it is in a flash of an eye, they spray on the code.
That's really cool, that is, because that was basically as time consuming as the grading itself was stamping everything.
Now the reason why we went so big is that one day I'd like to get like other producers similar size to me, and we'll put them all through here.
Right, and you can be a bit of a co-op producer.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's the gamble here, is that to make money back on this boy, I need to get other people paying me to grade eggs really.
So it's going to be full cockerel production.
Exactly. Well, yeah, if we've got to get through like 300 birds a year, it is going to be a lot of birds.
Have you thought about doing geese and stuff like that? Because geese, I was thinking of getting into for the meat before chickens, really.
Geese are actually, interestingly, the only ruminant poultry.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was
which is really cool. So you can mob graze them like you can cattle. Yeah. I've never actually grass raised them though. I don't know how successful they can be.
I think as long as your grass was decent and they had enough access to it.
Now it's time to go collect some eggs in these trays.
The whole 5 eggs.
What corn tax to do?
Corn tax.
The corn tax. The corn tax. The corn tax. You've got to pay the corn tax.
They love it as well. Look at them. They all come. It's like Pavlov's dog, isn't it? He's whistled them.
Draw a shake with them, Nick. That's your goal. If you go over there, you got to draw a shake.
Should we see if we can do an F to F? Oh no, chicken! Sort of.
Obviously we've got Steve, which is down. Oh, that's not Steve. That's obvious. Where is Steve? Oh, Steve's over there. There's all oyster shell, brit, and red and chili flakes.
Right.
Which is a really good mix. I put that out this morning, which is well.
And you literally top this up every day?
Yeah, to be honest with you,
flakes
the oyster shell is normally like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Chili flakes should be daily. I've only just got I bought like a 25 kilo sack. I was buying them in kilo sacks before.
Gone bulk.
Exactly.
Do you think it makes much of a difference to egg colour?
Definitely makes a difference to egg colour. So this is a big discussion, is that I think if you had barn-raised hens and you fed them on chili flakes, you could make them look like free-range hens. And I think that's one of the problems we're facing.
I think that's the biggest scam that we face with eggs, is because people think that these are high-quality eggs that they're getting from the supermarket, and effectively all it is, they've had the right additive added to their feed. Because I used to face that with, even though my eggs would be like really orange, you would sometimes get an egg from the wholesaler and crack it open. It's exactly the same orange, and I know mine are fed on good stuff to get that orange, whereas that has been chicken in a barn that I've seen. Do you know which egg is from which bird?
So the blue ones are cream leg bar and Americana.
Right.
And the brown ones are the mixture of the Morans, and then the light creamy ones are light Sussex.
What, that
Yeah,
one?
that's a light Sussex.
Any eggs that I do sell to people that don't turn into Scotch eggs, I want to look pretty in the box, basically. And then also when people look at the field, it's a nice bunch of chickens rather than a load of brown hens, isn't it? Which are a
The
bit
only thing I'll
boring.
say though is that I thought people would love the blue eggs. They're all a bit nervous of them.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What, think they're a seagull egg or something?
They're just not used to them, and so news a bit scary. But they do get used to them. But I thought, wow, people are going to love this. A nice egg box with a couple of blue eggs in, and actually chatting to the shop I sell to, people will buy the brown eggs first.
Mad. I would definitely go for a blue egg. Is it because they're a bit smaller, maybe?
Possibly.
So people are thinking
Yeah.
brown
They are
eggs
definitely
bigger.
smaller.
Because
I'm gonna
people
try
are
and
greedy, aren't they?
breed the bigger ones, and that will be a Lagoon of some
This one.
description.
Oh, it's almost like a pullet egg size. Is that full size egg?
Yeah. I think that'd be the silver campine actually. Wherever she is, Bob.
Yeah, there's some good sized eggs in here. Which are those the brown ones that lay the real big ones?
Yeah, the brown and the cookie Morans.
Are you hoping to get all your Morans to be laying real big eggs as well? Yeah, it shouldn't all be uniform.
Exactly. Nature, at no point is nature uniform.
Just about wrapped up with the man who likes chickens, and we've gathered 91 eggs today, as well as the ones we've collected to take home and incubate. And I'd say pretty good vision of what a small farm should look like, especially a poultry one. And if you want to see more chicken action, if you want to see more chicken action, head on over to Where the Farm to Start, and you'll see plenty of chicken stuff every day, as well as head on over to his website, which is linked below, and you can get yourself some patches, stickers, all sorts of good chicken goodness.